This afternoon, Hassan Nasrallah has been speaking in Lebanon. The Hezbollah leader described the attacks that killed 37 people and left over 3,000 injured as Israel having crossed all red lines. He went on to say Israel would face tough retribution.
The enemy has transgressed all laws and red lines. We are going to call this the Tuesday and Wednesday massacres. It's a war crime, a declaration of war. You can call it what you like.
Let's go straight to Beirut now. Rawad Taha is our correspondent. He's standing by. Rawad, we will come to Nasrallah and what he had to say in just a moment. But first, I want to ask you about what's been happening where you are in Beirut, in the Lebanese capital. I understand jets flying very low this afternoon.
Indeed, shortly after Nasrallah started his speech, Israeli warplanes were flying at an extremely low altitude, unprecedented when it comes to the case of the capital of Lebanon, Beirut, since the past year. This is probably the lowest altitude that these Israeli jets ever flew at since the war of attrition started. Also, sonic booms, loud sonic booms shook the entire city and rattled the entire city. And even this office where I'm speaking from, as we were hearing Nasrallah speaking, the windows all around us were shaking for a couple of seconds. It was just psychological warfare, perhaps.
And let's talk then about Nasrallah. You say this is potentially psychological warfare by Israel. What was Nasrallah saying? What was his tone? Give us a sense of his reaction to what has been really an unprecedented attack this week on his organization.
So indeed, this is one of Nasrallah's most honest speeches. We have reached first he mentioned that Hezbollah started its own internal investigation and that they have some sort of a clearer image of what went wrong and how this attack happened. He used the word near certain conclusions, but they need more time for verification. However, he was very honest when he told his people that there is no doubt that the organization suffered a major and severe blow, both humanely and security-wise. He called it an unprecedented event in Lebanon's history and in the history of the conflict with Israel. However, then he moved on to say that this blow did not and will not bring him or the organization down. His own words were, "We will become stronger, more resilient, and more capable." One thing that is very important is that when he mentioned the retaliation for this wave of attacks, in particular the walkie-talkie attacks and the pagers attacks, he mentioned and he used the words, "Don't wait for any attack, don't wait for any time. It could possibly take years to retaliate for this attack," signaling that the retaliation is not going to happen anytime soon, rather than that Hezbollah would be planning some sort of an also security breach attack on the long run on the Israeli side, rather than expecting any sort of retaliation to this attack during the next few days or weeks, unlike what we saw with the assassinations of commanders recently. However, one thing which the most important element of his speech today was not just this phrase, and was not just accepting this strong blow. He mentioned that the main reason Israel conducted the wave of the two attacks, be it the pagers attack or the walkie-talkie attacks, is to separate the two fronts. What he meant by the two fronts is that the Lebanese front from the Gaza front. Now, of course, to remind our viewers, this war of attrition started here in Lebanon between Hezbollah and Israel in support of Hamas in Gaza, according to Hezbollah. What Israel has been trying to do has been trying to split those two arenas into two separate conflicts, trying to reach a conclusion in the northern part of Israel that aims to return the residents of northern Israel back to their towns even before any ceasefire in Gaza is achieved. There was a very significant and clear answer from Hassan Nasrallah and Hezbollah on that part. Allow me to read exactly the statement he used. we tell Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant that the Lebanese front will not cease its fight until the aggression on Gaza stops, regardless of the sacrifices and the consequences. He also added that a lot of diplomatic channels and unofficial channels suggested that the goal of the attacks was to try to reach and conclude a deal or a ceasefire on the Lebanese front, but yet Hezbollah resists those pressures and will continue attacking northern Israel until a ceasefire in Gaza is achieved. So perhaps given the fact that Hezbollah accepted the security breach law and accepted and admitted the fact that it was a great blow to the organization, but still insisted on maintaining the attrition war and keeping this attrition war active until the conflict in Gaza ends, it means we're back to square one, perhaps, or square zero. And now it's up to the Israeli side to decide whether they will be doing something about their northern arena or this limited war of attrition will continue.